The following is a true story that is completely not fabricated, not even in the slightest, at all. Totally. My friend Cashew and I were in the PM class of kindergarten on an average everyday Tuesday. As you can imagine, people get really close in kindergarten, as we hadn't learned about personal bubbles yet, but that's not really relevant right now. Anyway, a couple of friends, Cashew and I, had stayed up during nap time to tell spooky, scary stories. Cashew sat cross-eyed for a while, until finally snapped out of it and told a few stories of his own about Indiana Jones, which he pinky swore were true. We quickly tuned him out. Nobody really liked Cashew, but he kept talking. He eventually started yelling loud enough that not even covering our ears worked, so we gave up and listened to him. He said the entity wore a name tag, but it was completely blank. As crazy as Cashew was, he pinky swore, so we had no choice but to blindly trust him. Cashew was 12 at the time. He was held back a couple of years, living in an old abandoned mansion, which happened to be built on an ancient burial ground. He had already hunted down and killed several demons, but none of them had spooked him as much as this one. Even as he spoke of it, he went pale and threw up a couple of times, his eyes popping out of his head. As I said, he was 12 at the time, and he recalled that it was 17.4 o'clock in the morning. When we informed him there was no such time, he told us to shut up and continued on. He had woken up, objectifying the necessity of the kidneys to remove waste from the body. He rose from his bed, tripped and fell on his face, got up, and began charging at the bathroom with all his might, when he heard a strange noise. Kind of like a but also kind of like a When he peeked his head out the door, what he saw was terrifying. The thing, was on all fours and was making its way slowly towards Cashew. Cashew, being the psychopath he was, grabbed the monster, pile-drived it, and threw it out the window. Now that was taken care of, Cashew went back to his bed. He noticed the absence of his dog from his usual spot just outside the room, but didn't think much of it. When he arrived at his bed, he was greeted by yet another beast. He described it as having the head of an armadillo, the body of a monkey, the eye of a bee, and the toe of a snail. Its face somewhat resembled Kevin Bacon. Its nose was akin to that of Voldemort, and it was wearing a Colts uniform. Cashew and the creature had a short staring contest before Cashew threw up. Unfortunately, Cashew's defense mechanism was not effective, and the creature went in for the kill. Cashew went into the fetal position, hoping to camouflage himself and fool the creature. The creature was not fooled. They then proceeded to play Monopoly until Cashew fell asleep. When he woke up in the morning, he tried to convince his mother, but she just thought he had gotten into her drug stash. He never spoke of it again, until like 2 days later, when he told all of his friends about it. We sat in silence for a moment, before bursting out laughing and beating up Cashew. What a wimp. That day I learned, you can insult somebody in many ways, if only by calling them names. The end.